Good day, learners. Welcome to yet another wonderful session of Learning with Prepclass. My name is Mr. Olalikon Israel, your Prepclass instructor, and I am so excited to be on your screens once again. I hope you are as excited as I am because this session promises to be educative and fun at the same time. Now, in this video, we will be answering English past questions on WAEC year 2020. Now, the purpose of this session is to prep you on how to answer similar questions like these ones in your WAEC examination. So, without wasting much time, let's get on to the business of the day. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel so you can get unlimited access to numerous educational materials. So, let's move into the first question we have for today. Now, the instruction for this series of questions says, in each of the following sentences, there is one underlined word and one gap. From the list of words lettered A to D, choose the one that is most nearly opposite in meaning to the underlined word and that will, at the same time, correctly fill the gap in the sentence. Now, this instruction states that we give the meaning of the underlined word and select the option that means the opposite of the underlined word, and the opposite of the underlined word must also fill in the blank space appropriately. So the first question reads, a guest should not make derogatory remarks about what he is offered by his host, but dash statements. Now, the underlined word in this sentence is derogatory. Remember, we had to select the option that most nearly means opposite of derogatory. Now, the options we have are candid, appealing, polite, complimentary. Now, the first thing to do is to define the word derogatory. The word derogatory means to belittle or lessen the value of someone or something. To belittle or to lessen the value of someone or something. I'm going to create a scenario for you to understand the meaning of the word derogatory. For example, you go to someone's house and the person offers you a food. And you just, after eating the food, you're like, oh, the seasoning in the food was too much. Don't you know how to cook? Now, that is a derogatory remark. That remark has belittled the person, it has lessened the value of the person. So, a guest should not make derogatory remarks about what he is offered by his host, but dash statements. Now, we have to select the option that means the opposite of derogatory. Now, the answer to this question is complimentary. A guest should not make derogatory remarks about what he is offered by his host, but complimentary statements. What is the meaning of the word complimentary? The word complimentary means to give a compliment or to praise or to encourage or to respect. To praise, to encourage or to respect. Now, using the same scenario, you went to somebody's house, the person offered you a meal, and after eating the meal, you make a remark like, thanks for the meal, it was very delicious. Now, this is a complimentary statement. It does not belittle, it praises, it encourages, it shows, and it gives a compliment. That is the opposite of derogatory. Derogatory remarks lessen and belittles someone, while complimentary remarks praises and encourages someone. So, complimentary is the opposite of derogatory. A guest should not make derogatory remarks about what he is offered by his host, but complimentary statements. It is not candid because candid means to be straightforward or to be sincere or to be impartial. This is not the opposite of derogatory because derogatory does not mean to be insincere. It is not appealing because appealing means to be attractive. This is not the opposite of derogatory. It is not polite because polite means to be well-mannered or to be civilized. This is not the opposite of derogatory. So, the answer to this question is complimentary. A guest should not make derogatory remarks about what he is offered by his host, but complimentary statements. Question 2 reads, the commander said that the raw recruits could not dislodge the enemies. He needed dash men. Remember, we had to select the word that most nearly means opposite of the underlined word and at the same time will correctly fill in the gap in the sentence. So the options we have are skilled, practical, learned, and seasoned. So how do we know the word that most nearly means the opposite of raw? the first thing to do is to define the word raw. Now, the word raw has numerous meanings, which includes not cooked. When you go to the market and you get fresh meat, it is a raw meat. It is not cooked. It can also mean something that is not treated or processed. It can mean to be bare, to be inexperienced, and so on. Now, in this context of use, the word raw means to be new or inexperienced. So we can say that the commander said that new or inexperienced recruits could not dislodge the enemies. So he needed dash men. Now, the opposite of raw in this context of use is seasoned. The commander said that raw recruits, that is inexperienced recruits, could not dislodge the enemies. He needed seasoned men. What is the meaning of seasoned? The word seasoned in this context of use means to be experienced. Now, when you say a soldier is seasoned, he is an experienced soldier. So the word seasoned means to be experienced. Remember, raw in this context of use means to be new or inexperienced. So seasoned is the opposite of raw, and it fills in the gap in the sentence. Now, you can be skilled but not be experienced, because after obtaining a particular skill, you need years of practice to be what? To become experienced, to become seasoned. It is not practical, because practical means to be based on practice or action, something that can be put into practice, something that is likely to be effective. Now, it is not learned, because learned means to be knowledgeable or highly educated. Now, this is not the opposite of raw. The commander said that raw recruits could not dislodge the enemies. He needed seasoned men. So, the answer to this question is seasoned. Seasoned is the opposite of raw, and it fills in the gap in the sentence appropriately. Now, moving on to the next question we have. Now, question 3 reads, John gave a fictitious account of the incident, but his son's account was dash. Remember, we have to select the word that most nearly means the opposite of the underlined word and will at the same time correctly fill the gap in the sentence. So the options we have here are probable, we have compelling, we have factual, and we have necessary. Now, the first thing to do is to define the word fictitious. Now, the word fictitious means to be unreal, something created out of fiction, something that is imagined or invented, something that is not real. So John gave an unreal account. He gave a fictitious account of the incident, but his son's account was factual. Factual is the opposite of fictitious. John gave a fictitious account of the incident, but his son's account was factual. Now, factual means to be characterized by facts, something that can be backed up by facts, to be real. Remember, fictitious means to be unreal, imagined, or invented. So, factual is the answer to this question. So, probable means to be likely to be true or possible. Now, emphasis on likely. So, this is not the opposite of fictitious. When you compel somebody to do something, you are being forceful, you are applying force to make that person do that particular thing. It is not necessary, because necessary means something that is needed, something that is required, something that is important or inevitable. So the answer to this question is factual. John gave a fictitious account of the incident, but his son's account was factual. Moving on to the next question, question 4 reads, while the refuse dump smelled fetid, the orchard exuded a dash smell. Remember, we have to select the word that means the opposite of the underlined word and will at the same time fill in the gap in the sentence. So the options we have here are fragrant, spicy, clean, and dry. So the first thing to do is to give the meaning of the word fetid. Now, the word fetid means to be foul smelling or to be stinking, something that has a terrible odor. So the answer to this question is fragrant. While the refuse dump smelled fetid, the orchard exuded a fragrant smell. Now, the word fragrant means having a pleasant scent. Remember, fetid means having a terrible odor, something that is stinking, something that is foul smelling. So fragrant is the opposite of fetid, and it appropriately occupies the space of the gap in the sentence. Now, it is not spicy, because spicy means to contain spice or to have a strong odor. It is not clean because the word clean means to be free of dirt or to be pure. Now, it is not dry because dry means to be free from liquid or moisture. The answer to this question is fragrance. While the refuse dump smelled fetid, the orchard exuded a fragrant smell. Now, the last question in this video reads, question 5. Only some of accused were acquitted. The rest were dash. Remember, we had to select the word that means the opposite of the underlined word and will appropriately occupy the gap in the sentence. Now, the options we have here are remanded, convicted, detained, and interdicted. Now, the first thing to do is to define acquitted. The word acquitted means to declare innocent or to find not guilty. So the answer to this question is convicted. Only some of accused were acquitted. They were found not guilty, but the rest were convicted. Now, the word convicted means to be found guilty. Having been declared guilty of a criminal offense by the verdict of a jury or the decision of a judge. So, only some of accused were acquitted, the rest were convicted. Now, the word convicted means to find guilty. Having been declared guilty of a criminal offense by the verdict of a jury or the decision of a judge. Remember, acquitted means found not guilty. So, convicted is the opposite of acquitted. It is not remanded because remanded means to send back to custody. You have not been found guilty, but they are still working on the case, so you are still being remanded. You have been sent back to custody. Now, it is not detained because detained means to keep from proceeding or to put in custody. Now, this is not the opposite of acquitted. It is not interdicted because interdicted means to prohibit or to forbid. This is not the opposite of acquitted. The opposite of acquitted is convicted. So only some of the accused were acquitted, the rest were convicted. So with that, we've come to the end of this wonderful session. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Also, do not forget to like and drop your comments. Also, remember to share with your friends. Bye and see you next time.